If you're under the age of 40, there's a real chance that you will never own the home you live in. And that's solely because the housing game has changed, not because of your personal situation. I think it's quite evident that the UK is pushing hard to change the game. This might even take decades, but they're making it very hard to get on the property ladder to the point it's impossible. Everyone is still striving to get their own home, to the point where they are maxing out their monthly expenses on a mortgage just to get on the property ladder because it's still deemed a success, right? And you know, everyone's striving for this, the house, the picture, the image. Is like, this is what success looks like. The game's changed. This is almost borderline impossible for most people to achieve now, even on a decent wage. The UK is very quickly becoming a nation of renters, and you've got most people still playing by the old rules. In this video, I want to talk about the shift that is happening and what this means for your money, your future, your housing situation, and your options. For decades, we were told one story: go to school, go to uni, get a job, buy a house, pay off the mortgage. That's security. That's the dream. That's the path. But guys, look around. House prices are 8 to 1. Decades ago, they were 4 to 1. They're now 8 to 1. Deposits are borderline impossible to save for. Mortgages are tighter than ever. Then you've got stamp duty on top of your deposit. That's another saving account, which is borderline impossible to save for anyway. And I'm only laughing because of how ridiculous it all is now. And then you've got the rent. Rents are higher than ever. It's crazy. People are asking like £1,600 for a 2-bed. It's mental. For the majority of people, buying your own home isn't even delayed. It's off the table. So the question becomes, what does life look like if renting isn't a stepping stone? It's the end game. So just a bit of info on who I am. I stepped out of the 9-to-5 rat race that I was in for 13 years, and I started learning in the property sector. It didn't take long to get my first deal and replace my income and then step into that business full time. I've done over 20 property deals, all deals where I'm not owning the property, I'm controlling them. I still actively do deals now. I took on 2 deals just before Christmas, doing exceptionally well. And I've taught over 300 students this exact business model, many of them financially free. And now I'm the owner of Rise Up Rent to Rent, and it's one of the most popular training schools in the UK. So there are a few big forces driving this shift. Firstly, everyone can relate to this: affordability. House prices are now 8 to 1. That's the price of the house is 8 times the yearly salary. Back when life used to be affordable, such as your parents or your parents' parents, the ratio was 4 to 1. Yet we're still following the tradition that they were living back then, because that's what we've been taught. It's been passed down. We're still following that norm trend which existed 40 years ago. Your wages haven't kept up. That means it takes so much longer now to save for a deposit. And because it takes so much longer, you've got to keep in line with inflation and the cost of living going up as well. So you've got to save even longer to account for that. Mortgage criteria are getting stronger, tighter. You know, the interest rates suddenly spiked a few years ago, if you remember. 3 years ago, they spiked up to like 7.5%. That scared a lot of people, where the interest rates were sat at like 1.2, 1.4%, and everyone was getting into mortgages. There was a big surge in the property market where everyone was getting on the property ladder, and there you go. Once everybody was on it, boom, let's spike the interest rates. Everyone was stuck. Everyone definitely felt that pinch. Second is the supply. I was out for coffee the other day, and I couldn't help but overhear there was 3 gentlemen sat on the table next to me. The only part I heard was, you know, we made an offer of asking price and it was declined. We had to go in £20,000 over the asking price because of so many people wanting that house. That's the supply that has done that. Everyone's fighting for the same house. We're simply not building enough houses for the amount of people that live in the UK. So that is keeping the prices of houses increasing, the amount of choice that you've got low. Thirdly is lifestyle shifts. With COVID and the working from home now lifestyle, people are moving more often. This is a good thing, but it does mean careers are now less stable. No one's really chasing the career path. People are moving from city to city more often. And that's solely because of remote working is allowing people to choose where they want to live. Ownership locks you into one location. Renting gives you flexibility to just hand in your notice and find somewhere else to live. But the trade-off is control. If you rent long term, your housing cost is more volatile. You have less control over how long you can stay. You're more exposed to market conditions and landlord decisions. So you gain mobility, but you lose stability. And that trade-off is becoming normalized, whether people consciously choose it or not. So that also changes what success looks like. For previous generations, security means owning your own home. It's having an asset, right? That's what we've been told. And for future generations, security might mean stable cash flow, transferable skills, location independence, multiple income streams. So in other words, security shifts from assets to income. The danger is people are still chasing the old version of success in a system that no longer rewards it in the same way. Every system change creates winners and losers. The people that are going to benefit from a nation of renters tend to be those who control the rental supply. And we can go deeper on that. You know, you've got BlackRock buying thousands of houses. You've got Lloyd's Group investing billions in the UK property market. Are they shifting into becoming the majority landlord of the UK? That's a whole nother video that I've just made that you can go watch here. Other people that benefit from a nation of renters are people that operate property as a business, you know, controlling property, using other people's assets to make an income from. Those who understand how to create cash flow from housing demand. The people that are going to feel the squeeze are the ones that solely rely on a wage. The people that have no leverage, and the people that are waiting for things to go back to normal. This is just a trough. There will be a peak. The uncomfortable truth is housing is becoming less about shelter and more about infrastructure. And infrastructure tends to be controlled by people who treat it as a system, not a dream. You know, should you still aim to buy your own house? And this is where people misinterpret conversations like this. Don't get me wrong, this isn't me saying owning a home is bad. Owning your own home is great. It can be great emotionally. It provides stability. They go up in value over time. It makes sense long term. But as your first financial move, ownership is becoming borderline impossible and far less effective for most people. If your goal is freedom, flexibility, and income replacement, the old path of job first, mortgage first, freedom later, that's getting longer and harder. The people that are going to win going forward are the people that are adapting to the market and grabbing the opportunity, who are grabbing cash flow now and assets later. Stop chasing that step one that existed 20, 30, 40 years ago. The game has changed. So let me know in the comments, do you think that owning your own home is the dream that most people are still thinking about? Or do you think that the UK is moving more towards renting long term? And that's what everybody is transitioning to and content with. If you want to talk about an even bigger picture of what's happening with the property market and the housing market in the UK, go and watch this video.